It's currently 3/11/26, roughly 1922. Now I was just pondering and reading my Oric books. To those who don't know, I highly recommend it. If you don't want to know, read Parasite on Feet. But when you read the positive books, like the more building and cleansing and elevating books, you understand. It's like I said, that's what I said. Back in the day, the order would put you to the stake if you weren't proven by the order, and therefore then you would be granted this next level of consciousness. That's why I said the scriptures say don't delve in witchcraft, but it's kind of hypocrisy, but it's not, because Moses had magic. He turned his rod into a snake, and that was a serpent back into the rod. But when you understand, Jesus lasted the pharaohs. He was initiated into the cult of Asar, and I'm not sure if it was actually Heliopolis, but I guess a different city or state within Kemet. So he was proven being raised as not the pharaoh's son, but basically a pharaoh's son. So he would have to be initiated to be even in the house. You can't be a nigger or a niggardly being and be able to be under the pharaoh, who at that point in time, I believe, according to the book, were still practicing the ancient arts of Kemet. So if you were opening the door and then didn't have a proof, like I said, I'm not able to go around and test each individual to see if they were proven or if they're a good person or a bad person. That's why they had the righteous side anyway. They had the order in which you would have to be initiated through, and then open the door. Sadly, today, beings are opening the door even for the children when they are still figuring out what's going on and causing the demonic negative chi pull on this reality. But when you read the negative books, you would see in school, or going there to see the Kemetic in school for 49 years, probably from 9 to 49 or 7 to 47. One of those stages in their life before they even get to that point, you would have to read up on this stuff and master it. Probably like the brotherhood, be quizzed upon the knowledge which you research, and then it would determine if you move on to the next stage or if you got to stay behind and get some more knowledge. So that's what you have today. When you read the dark arts, a lot of the activities that beings are doing is written in the dark arts, which are forbidden and really death worthy, because a lot of things you can do can drain someone's life force, which is equivalent to murder. So that's why you had to be proven, because you want some demonic, nasty piece of shit, rapist, murdering ass nigga tap into the source chi, using it for the Sith cause rather than for being in tune with the force. So as you have today, that's why the scripture says don't deal with such beings. Not only that, because they said they summoned Baal to attack the Israelites. There's no type of negative chi or negative violations of the path, and therefore they were causing an imbalance in the multiverse and in this reality. So if you are going to get into it, I highly recommend to read books on it before you open the door. Not to mention they admit, well, when you get into the spell casting, see that's a whole different level anyways, two different fields. You're supposed to first master your being and elevate it. That's why he said mediums, for the most part, talk to the other world, but they're highly elevated through the practices in like 20, 30 years plus of mastering themselves, and therefore the craft. So beings who are opening the door, they're learning. They're not even learning through the books. They're learning from what some Tard told them how to do, but they not understanding. Those Tards are probably negative, evil beings, and when you read the books, you see the techniques they're using they're forbidden. That's why humans are going so negative, and the reality is getting so negative, because you're opening the door. There it is. And when you use that, you're basically channeling negative chi into your being. So you're absorbing what you would call demonic forces, but super negative forces into your being, and giving your chi even more negative is now changing your being. Because like you see, a lot of people who are beings who operate on their frequency act and do the same thing. Like back in high school, they say the dumb jocks and the non-jocks come with them, like they were always the majority of the class. That you had the nerd kids or the smart kids or whatever. Then you had the weirdos, where I fit in that. I see, well, exactly as I can testify lots of myself and those who I hung out with were athletic, intelligent, and or would fight you. But that's the different classes. But now you see the masses. Those, I mean, like I said, like in school, they were the in crowd was the jocks and the cheerleader Jones, which has now become the same thing in school. The majority of the population that refuse to listen to correction, the fool hates correction, as it says in scriptures and proverbs, and going on in the violations and doing that which is creating negative chief of reality and becoming negative beings, and therefore becoming the enemy that those who follow the positive side of the path. Return to the Titanic.